Why? What did I do? What did I do to you, Washington? What did I do to you? What did I possibly do to you for you to repay me like this? Why? Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick! Oh, I'm hurt. I can't believe this, man. Of all people, Ryan Fitzpatrick. You could have taken anybody. I don't care who you brought in. But Ryan Fitzpatrick. Oh man, what did I do? What did I do to you, Washington? What did I do to you? What did I do to you? This gotta be against me, man. This is the personal attack against me. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Okay. With my own personal vendetta out of the way, because I have a personal disdain for Ryan Fitzpatrick. So let's get that out the way. With all my stress out the way, let's actually take a look at this situation. Honestly, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's not the quarterback I would have picked. Be the last quarterback I would pick on my list. Just personally to me, not like it's a bad. The man's failed me far too many times for me to want to put my hope in this man again. But when you actually look at this deal, it's technically not really bad for Washington. They signed Fitzpatrick to a 1-year, $10 million deal that could actually go up to $12 million, and he's expected to go into training camp as a starter with Heineke battling him. So it's definitely gonna be some sort of quarterback battle, but expect Fitzpatrick to be the starter for the team going into camp. Now, considering the fact that this is the NFC East, honestly, bringing in a guy like Fitzpatrick, I mean, that's a W. Considering what we had last year, I mean, you had Alex Smith, the remains of Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, who got injured for the season, and then Heineke, who came out of nowhere and did this. Like, there wasn't that much to really look at. We didn't really have anything. Now this year, you don't have much, but I guess you have something in Fitzpatrick. He's a veteran. He wins games. He's never been to the playoffs, though, but he wins games. And in the division like the NFC East, honestly, you can win the division with like 6 or 7 games. Washington proved that last season. So honestly, bringing in a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick probably puts you in a good position. I mean, at this point, you look at it, you just don't know what's going to happen in the NFC East. And bringing in a guy like Fitzpatrick could definitely help them. Honestly, I think Washington's got a good shot to win the division with Fitzpatrick. It's like, as much as I have my own personal issues against Fitzpatrick because he's failed me so many times throughout the years, he's still he's still a solid quarterback. He's still a solid starter. You know, you put him on your squad, he can win you a couple of games. And considering how great of a defense, we have in Washington, all Ryan Fitzpatrick has to do is just don't screw up. I mean, as simple as that. Then again, when it comes to this guy, when the pressure's at its highest, he tends to fail you repeatedly, like he did with all the teams he was on, especially with the. I mean, oh my God, let me not talk. Let me not vex my frustrations anymore. I had that moment, but yeah, this is actually somewhat of a solid deal for Washington. There's not many options out there at quarterback, and it seems like the team's probably not, either they're not 100% ready to give the franchise or just give the starting job to Heineke, or they kind of want to ease him in. Like I said, it's probably gonna be a quarterback battle in training camp. If Heineke impresses enough, they'll probably end up making him the starter. Either way, this works out for them because you got a guy who could come in and win games as a veteran, and you can put him as your starter. and you just go from there. Or if you get into training camp, Heineke's showing a lot of great progression, and he ends up winning the starting job, you'll have a really solid backup in Fitzpatrick that can come in case Heineke gets injured or he has a bad game and they want to try Fitzpatrick and see what he can do. Who knows? So yeah, this works out for Washington. And in the NFC East, anything can happen. So bring in a guy like Fitzpatrick, who really had one of his best years with Miami last season. This is a pretty solid deal for Washington. It's not a bad move. Like I said, taking out my own personal vendetta and bias against Fitzpatrick, just looking at it from a football standpoint, this is a solid move for Washington. There's not really a big market for quarterbacks this offseason. Like, who is there really out there? I mean, Phillip Rivers is technically out there, but no one's going to go after him. Who else is really out there in terms of quarterbacks that you could possibly bring in and feel comfortable? Like, when you look at the market, the only one that was really there was Cam Newton. And once he got signed by the Patriots, it was like, yeah, there was nothing left. So bringing in a guy like Fitzpatrick, he's solid. He's a veteran. He's had experience. He could definitely come in and win games. And, with that defense in Washington, trust me, they can win 6 or 7 games with Fitzpatrick. And, if everything's going well, they could potentially win 8 or 9 games. And honestly, that's enough to win in the NFC East. You couldn't really get mad at that. Now, will Fitzpatrick help them win a Super Bowl? Probably not. I don't think anybody's looking at this and saying, oh, man, Fitzpatrick coming in now makes them a Super Bowl contender. I just, no. But him coming in, he's definitely solid. He could win you games. And if Heineke impresses them in training camp and they give him the starting job, you'll have a really solid backup quarterback that, can come in and take that role if Heineke's not playing well or he gets injured. So, it's not a bad deal for Washington. They signed him on the 1-year deal after all. It's not a bad deal. And considering the quarterback situation in Washington right now, bringing in a guy like Fitzpatrick's not really a bad move. So yeah, besides my own biasness against them, this is not a bad move for Washington. This is a good move. It's a solid move. I have a problem with it personally because I have an issue against Fitzpatrick, but taking out my biases and looking at this from a football standpoint, it's a solid move for Washington to bring in a veteran that could definitely play that starting role, especially since you let go of Alex Smith. Necessarily from a football standpoint, I have no issues with this for Washington. There's not a big quarterback market this offseason. So, this is a solid move by them. This is a really solid move by them. So, I don't really have a problem with it. And it's a 1-year deal. So, if it doesn't work out, they can always just move on from Fitzpatrick. Washington right now is trying to figure this quarterback situation out. They finally got a defense that is caliber. And it's a great defense. And, it's pretty much near the point of being a championship type defense because they're really great. They're really great. The defense, it's where it needs to be. You could probably add something there to just bolster it and make it really great, but that defense is set. You also got some pieces of the offense. You do got some weapons and receivers, obviously with McLaurin, but we got guys in Gibson as well. We got guys. So the team is in a good place defensively. Offensively, it'd be nice to add some more weapons, bolster the offensive line a little bit. But the main issue with Washington is just the quarterback position. And bringing in Fitzpatrick, it helps out no matter what. It's a win-win situation. Either you're getting a solid starter that can take over and help you win games, especially in the NFC East division that could be won with 7 or 8 wins. Or, if he doesn't become the starter and Heineke shows progression, he becomes the starter, Fitzpatrick will be a very solid backup that can come in any time for Heineke if he's struggling or he gets injured. So no matter what, I look at this as a really solid deal for Washington. I have my own issues with him personally. We know that. I don't have to continue to go into that. But it's not a bad deal for Washington, especially since we saw what Fitzpatrick did with Miami. Honestly, he was a big part of what helped that team just get revived and actually look like a legit playoff team. Had it been any other year, they were going to make the playoffs. Unfortunately, 10-6 was not going to be enough to make the playoffs not this, but last season, because even though there were 7 playoff spots, there were just too many good teams. Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, unfortunately, Pittsburgh, which started out as a great team but collapsed. Cleveland was definitely a great team. You had so many. Tennessee was also a great team. There were so many great teams, man. So there was what was it? 11-5. 11-5. 11-5 got you in the playoffs. 10-6 didn't. That's just how it worked out. And Fitzpatrick was a big part of that Miami team that, they really did some things. When he was there, they were at their best. When he was playing as the starter, they were at their best. So, yeah, Fitzpatrick coming to Washington can definitely help this team win some games in the NFC East. Maybe even win the division. So it's not a bad move by Washington. From a football standpoint, I like the move. From a personal standpoint, in terms of adding my biasness in it, I don't like this move. I never wanted Fitzpatrick to ever play for Washington. If had this been Baltimore, this would have been a different situation, man. I could just imagine, we never drafted Lamar, and Flacco's just done, and all of a sudden Fitzpatrick just comes out of nowhere. I don't know what I would have done with myself. But hey, Fitzpatrick's come to Washington. Maybe it won't be painful. Maybe I'll actually go, if we get fans back, maybe I'll go to the stadium and watch him live, rip my heart out and disappoint me yet again. But it is what it is. Anyway, that's all I got. Solid move by Washington. We'll see where this goes. That's all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.